Hi, and welcome back. You are listening to the Perio Patient Podcast, a podcast for my patients and anyone else who cares to listen. My name is Dr. Ben Young, and I am a periodontist in private practice here in San Antonio, Texas. This is episode 105. I know it's been a little bit since I recorded last, but now we're into the Christmas holidays, so I have a little more time. And the title is What It Means to Be Yourself. But before I go there, I would like to first review with you a little bit about dental implants, how they are different from natural teeth, and why it is important you understand this if you're going to have dental implants. If you haven't ever watched my brief video on the cause, treatment, and management of periodontal disease that I call A Tooth Has Four Parts, well, I encourage you to do so. It's on my website on the front page. Just scroll down a little and you will find it. If it has been a while, go back and look at it again. It's a good review, and it explains the four parts of a tooth. The part important to the cause and management of periodontal disease, or periodontitis, is the one part of the four that is invisible to the naked eye. Under a microscope, it looks a lot like bone. It is a thin bone-like layer that covers the root and holds the little fibers we call periodontal fibers. They attach the tooth to the body or to the bone. They are shock absorbers. This means if a tooth is traumatized, it can get loose, and then when the force is removed, it can tighten back up. Also, these fibers have a type of nerve that sends location signals to the brain. This is how you know if you have a strawberry seed between your teeth. Dental implants are different. They attach directly to bone, no fibers. In fact, if fibers form between the implant and bone, the implant will loosen and fall out. Implants can take a lot of force if they run in the right direction, meaning they can take a strong load in the direction of the length of the implant, the direction we call axial. Axial, when describing the human body, is head to toe. Forces hitting the implant from the side weaken the implant, and if they exceed the implant bone connection, it will result in a microfracture of bone next to the implant, which will be lost and replaced by a soft tissue network similar to the fibers around a tooth. Incidentally, this confused a lot of researchers early on when studying what an optimum dental implant should look like radiographically and under a microscope. When this happens in an implant, this fiber formation, the implant has already failed, and the only option at that point is to start over again. In addition, there are no specialized nerves around the implant giving the brain information about forces being applied. This means that an implant crown system can be hitting earlier than other teeth, which is not unusual over months and years of wear of the tops of teeth and crowns, and the individual will be completely unaware of this, but it ends up exposing the implant to more cyclical forces than are desired. For this reason, the implant needs to be checked annually by a dentist, a prosthodontist, usually the person who placed the tooth. Check the bite. Also, an annual x-ray is a good idea to see if there are any broken parts within the implant. So, if you have a dental implant or implants, make sure you are having them evaluated annually with a bite check and an x-ray. I wrote the following one day during the Thanksgiving week while on vacation and published it on my Substack entitled The Still Point Project. This project is my outlet to express myself, and I've been putting it out daily for a number of years now. Soon I will have a tab on my website that will give brief descriptions of each post as I put them up, with a link where you can go and read them. I have many who wake up to find these in their email inboxes. All they did was subscribe by entering their email address at the Substack. I offer free subscription, so feel free to check it out. Here it is. As a nation, we almost disappeared. We came as close to losing our love and pride for being Americans, for loving one another, and for our history than we ever have in the past 248 years. This includes considering the Civil War, which was a hyper-patriotism of a sort, both sides wanting the nation to be defined on their terms. Following World War II, we experienced the loss of wars, the threat of nuclear annihilation, and the slow rise of affluence brought by the Silicon Age, which has resulted in us as a country of middle-class taxpayers experiencing two opposing results. On the one hand, our lives became easier and seemingly less dependent on others, while at the same time becoming more controlled by bigger, deeper, broader, man-manipulated world forces than ever before. This resulted in greater psychological manipulation to the point, in fact, that we could be at war, struggling for our lives, along with our descendants' security and prosperity, while at the same time not really knowing it. We have been experiencing warfare waged by hidden enemies, foreign and domestic, intent on erasing every right we were bequeathed by our national founding documents. This was the plan of the Great Reset. It came with biowarfare, catastrophic economic transfers of wealth, and the opening of our borders to people with little knowledge of our heritage or any interest in protecting and preserving it. No borders, no country. To overcome all of this, it was necessary for the American people to experience a great awakening. I think the pivot point came on July 13 of this year, when we almost witnessed on live TV the assassination of Donald Trump, immediately followed with his historic response when he stood up and pumped his fist. Fight, fight, fight was his awakening cry. This shot, heard around the world, dissolved politics as usual. No longer did the usual petty differences between political parties matter anymore. There has come a realignment between the vast, once asleep, self-interested majority and a deeply entrenched system willing to use that majority's best intentions against them in order to keep control of the national levers of power. Had things turned out differently, had those who had been in power coming out of elite universities been able to continue unchallenged in their unelected and elected positions through their crony and often illegal relationships between academia, business, entertainment, government, and non-government positions, we might have lived to witness the complete destruction of our country. It was slip-sliding away, not with a bang, but a whimper. And with the death of our country would have gone the loss of our holidays. Not their dates and perhaps definitional meanings, but their significance and importance as societal connectors. You see, holidays serve our national interest by identifying what we as Americans stand for. With the rise of global godless elite, Thanksgiving has been under attack for a long time. There are always those who seek its replacement with something non-spiritual, less God-centered, and less family-oriented. Pawns of the state don't need such a day. The same people want Christmas to become more marginalized than it already is. They support it only as a means of heightening commerce and further debt enslavement. The baby in the manger is actually the antidote they deeply wish to eliminate. You take it from here. List all the national holidays and see how important they are, as well as how they are under constant attack. So, be grateful this Thanksgiving to be living in one of the freest countries in the world. We are not perfect, but we continue to be endowed with blessings from God, as well as the responsibilities to mankind that this entails. Hopefully, we as a nation are no longer asleep to the fact that liberty is fragile and can be easily lost. Here's one more post I wrote recently entitled, "Humility is the Great Healer." Let me explain. When I humble myself, I admit I don't know what is best or have what it takes to solve many of my own problems. Those problems I can solve, I have usually been taught how by others. So even in this case, it is truthful to humbly admit my appreciation for the help of others, enabling me to be as independent in life as I can be. To be humble when I am sick means I won't stubbornly shut myself away only to get worse. Yes, there are times when I might get poor advice from others. Life is not without risk. But even in these instances, I can choose to humble myself by asking for God's guidance. This doesn't mean that God owes me a pain and problem-free life, but it does mean I will not go through things alone. Humility opens up healing in relationships because I no longer have to win. I can let go at times. I can forgive and not hold grudges. Without humility, I am prideful and foolish. These are never good pathways to a happier, healthier life. Too bad humility gets such a bad rap by so many self-help experts and gurus today. Here's a practical tip. Avoid seeking advice from anyone who is into self-promotion. This eliminates a lot of self-promoting social influencers, authors, and media personalities. And let me close with the New Living Translation's version of Psalm 91. Those who live in the shelter of the Most High will find rest in the shadow of the Almighty. This I declare about the Lord. He alone is my refuge, my place of safety. He is my God. I trust him. For he will rescue you from every trap and protect you from deadly disease. He will cover you with his feathers. He will shelter you with his wings. His faithful promises are your armor and protection. Do not be afraid of the terrors of the night, nor the arrow that flies in the day. Do not dread the disease that stalks in darkness, nor the disaster that strikes at midday. Though 1,000 fall at your side, though 10,000 are dying around you, these evils will not touch you. Just open your eyes and see how the wicked are punished. If you make the Lord your refuge, if you make the Most High your shelter, no evil will conquer you, no plague will come near your home. For he will order his angels to protect you wherever you go. They will hold you up with their hands so you won't even hurt your foot on a stone. You will trample upon lions and cobras. You will crush fierce lions and serpents under your feet. The Lord says, I will rescue those who love me. I will protect those who trust in my name. When they call on me, I will answer. I will be with them in trouble. I will rescue and honor them. I will reward them with a long life and give them my salvation. Well, that's it for today. This has been the Perio Patient Podcast, and I'm still Dr. Ben Young. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.